Welcome back to our beginner guide. Enjoy!
Now that we have our friends with us, we have a Wigfrid. If you guys, I forgot to mention a few of the character stats, but Wendy generally has Abigail with her, which you can see Abigail there taking a little bit of damage. And we're going to fight these real quick, and then I'll further explain a few things. So, as you can see, fighting clockworks with friends is a lot better. And with the bishop, you're always going to get 2 gears and 1 purple gem. Be careful, though, because if you do decide to fight a clockwork near the water, I do not believe gems sink. But if you're in the basement and you're fighting, if you're in the cave, sorry, and you're fighting a bishop along the edge, you will lose the gem in the basement or the gear. So always try to avoid that if possible. As I mentioned before about the bishops, they generally are the only clockworks that will have range. Most of the time, one of the only few bosses that will have a range attack, not really a boss, but more of a creature that will have a range attack other than the spitters in the basement. So always make sure that you're attacking them with friends. Aki is playing a character known as Wigfrid. Now, I chose Wilson just for the fact of this tutorial, but Wigfrid is a great ally to have on your side. There's a few reasons for this. If you begin to play with whatever character you are and you have a friend that is playing Wigfrid, simply give them 2 gold and 2 rocks, and they'll be your best friend. Because with 2 rocks and 2 gold, they're able to make yourself a fancy new battle helm. Now, battle helms are a lot more useful to actually... battle helms are a lot more useful to use than walking around with a log suit. I prefer helmets over log suits any days, only because every time you wear a log suit, boom, you lose your backpack on the ground. So if you're traveling around at nighttime, obviously you're going to be using your miner hat. So just be wary that if you're using a miner hat, you might prefer using a log suit as armor, but if you're using a lantern, which I'm currently not using, then perhaps helmets are your best friends. But regardless, you can have your Wigfrid make yourself a fancy battle helm, which does 80% protection versus the 80% protection that the armor does on the log suit. However, the durability is 525 versus 315 on the durability of the log suit. So it's a little bit more of cost because you got to use gold in order to get it, but gold is very, very, very easy to get and Don't Starve together. It might not be right at your fingertips, but unless you're taking the entire world down and gathering to all the gold like right away, you're gonna find gold very easy to get, whether it's from trinkets, finding gold biomes, and going into the caves. The other thing that Wigfrid can do for you as well too is make you an easy spear to use, and I'll show you the stats of the spear as well too. So currently I have a normal spear here. I have your regular spear that you would make from a science machine or an alchemy engine, but Wigfrid comes equipped with a battle spear. So if you can go ahead, you can give yourself, once again, supply them with enough gold to make them, unless they already have it, but we'll show you the difference between the battle spears. 42.5 damage with 200 uses versus 34 damage and 150 uses. So definitely the battle spear is the way to go in this case. So if you have a Wigfrid with you, it's very easy to get those resources and have them make, easy to use weapons and easy to use armor. So going back, now that we have our gears, we're going to start preparing for something that you definitely need in your base. Now, what we're going to be making is something called a flingomatic. And a flingomatic is something that you're going to need in your base, not for necessarily right now, but in case an accidental fire breaks out, in case, of any reason, a flingomatic will save your base in multiple occasions. You don't necessarily need to worry about making a flingomatic right now, but getting the resources early game before winter is a great idea. Winter is your time where we're going to get a lot of ice and a lot of other materials, but we're not going to worry about that too much right now. So let's go ahead and put everything back where we need it. And as you can see, our fridge is already full. Early game and Don't Starve together, you're going to notice that your fridges are going to get full and you're not going to have any room. So obviously the best idea is to make an extra fridge. But if you don't have enough gears on you, for example, if you're ending autumn with only 2 gears, you're going to have to make the decision of keeping those 2 gears for the flingomatic or going ahead and making an ice box instead. But because we have so many gears in our inventory, I'm going to go ahead and make an extra fridge just for this time being. So once again, in order to make a fridge, you're going to need to get yourself 1 cut stone, 1 gear, and 2 gold. And it's always best to have it's always best to have possibly one pre-made just in case anything comes into your base and destroys it. So for the time being, we'll make an extra one, and we can now put all of our stuff in there. A few things to worry about when it comes to fridges are noticing when things are about to spoil. As you can see right here, we have 15 units of stale berries, and we also have 40 units of carrots. Both of those are beginning to spoil. Taking the 7 berries and combining it with the 15 that are currently spoiling will raise it from stale to most likely back in the green. But I would suggest instead of doing that, taking the stale berries and cooking them when they get almost at 50%. And that'll bring it back to basically full. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that right now, so we don't have to worry about these going any more stale than they already are. And then we're going to go over to the biome and look for some tumbleweeds. So generally in autumn, you want to make sure that you do a few things. You get yourself a lot of food, and you prioritize making sure that you're ready to go for winter. Because winter is, if not one of the hardest seasons. You know, I still think summer is, in my opinion, one of the harder seasons, but winter is definitely something to, you know, once you start playing DST, you realize how hard it can be to get past winter. So as you can see, I put roasted or cooked berries inside of the same fridge that the regular berries are in. They do not combine because one is cooked and one is not. So obviously, if I take this stack and I cook it and I put it into this stack, it will raise the level of freshness on them, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. So instead, I'm going to take and make the easiest recipe to make and don't starve together, which is 1 meat of any kind, because you can see that I'm starting to get hungry. Anytime you notice that your character is losing HP because of hunger, I would really suggest just eating whatever's in your inventory just temporarily until you get yourself a meatball of some sort, because walking around and losing hunger is not generally like the best option. But for this tutorial, I was kind of just waiting for it to go below where it would start causing damage. So 1 meat and 3 filler of any kind. This could mean we could go 1 meat and 3 carrots, 1 meat and 3 ice, etc., etc., etc. The only thing you can't do is do 1 meat, 1 monster meat, and then 3 other monster meat. That'll make you monster lasagna, which you do not want to have. There's plenty of recipes in Don't Starve Together, but I want to keep it pretty basic right now. I don't want to confuse you guys. So if you guys go on to the wiki page of Don't Starve Together, you can generally notice a few of the recipes that are there. Meatballs are your best friend in Don't Starve Together. They give you a lot of hunger depending on what character you're playing, and they're able to raise a little bit of sanity and a little bit of health. It's more so just your simple recipe to keep you not so hungry in the seasons to come. So it gives you 62.5 hunger, plus 5 sanity, and plus 3 HP. But I would more so just suggest making them for the fact of they give you lots of hunger for easy resources. And you're going to make endless amount of meatballs, and you'll continue to make meatballs through all of Don't Starve Together. So as we continue on, a few things that I always recommend doing once you have your alchemy engine, once you have your crock pots, once you have a lot of things here, if you have any leftover gold, it's time to start making golden tools. Now, I would not suggest making golden tools until you have perhaps, you know, a few ice boxes. You make sure that you have enough resources, make sure that you have some armor, and then focus on your gold tools. So golden tools are a lot better than regular tools because when you're chopping trees, when you're digging up items, and when you're using your pickaxe, you're not going to have to worry about them going bad very quickly. As you can see, 1 pickaxe will do 27 damage and have 33 uses. But if we go ahead and we make a golden pickaxe, we now have 132 uses and the same amount of damage. So the same damage, but you have over 3 times, what is that, around 4 times the amount of use. So it's definitely something to use, and I would suggest that when you have the gold for it, it's a perfect opportunity. Now, as night just went down, you can notice that I can still walk around without a lantern, and the reason because it's now day 11. So on the odd days, for example, on the odd days that are 11, 31, and then you have day 51, you're gonna have a full moon. And with a full moon comes multiple different things. Don't worry about it too much right away, but if you are basing next to a pig or a pig area, you're going to want to be fairly cautious. As well if you're next to a graveyard as well too, because ghosts are going to start to come out of their graves and possibly cause you some grief. If you're next to a pig house and you notice that there's pigs outside on a full moon, you're gonna notice that with the pig, coming out of the house, it's going to immediately turn into a were-pig. Okay, so after the full moon is over, we had to quickly reconnect there. After the full moon is over, you're going to go back to a normal day and nothing's going to change. But the next time on day 21, there will be no full moon. That'll be known as a new moon. But that will not give you full light at nighttime. However, but as I mentioned before, if you're near the pigs, if you're living with the pigs, it's probably a good idea to run away from them on day 11, because at that point you're going to notice they're going to be turning into a were-pig and they will aggro you no matter what character you're playing. However, there are more uses with a were-pig, which we can explain later on, but I'm not going to focus on that too much right now. I just want to focus on survival. So as we end there, we can kind of let you know that in the next few days, we have exactly 9 days left of autumn. So with 9 days left of autumn, we still have quite a bit of work to do before winter starts. But in our next video, which will be uploaded very shortly, we're going to go through the process of getting things ready for winter, going to the tumbleweed biome, and looking for McTusk. And McTusk is right here on our map. And we'll go ahead and we're going to explain that in a little bit and make sure that we have everything prepared for that, and also prepared for the first boss that will show up on day 30. It might be 18 days away from now, but it'll creep up on you really fast. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. So we will see you guys in the next video. So thanks again for watching our videos, and I hope that this beginner tutorial is helping you survive alongside with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to check us out on if you guys want to watch me live on Twitch, you can feel free to jump on my Twitch stream, which I literally stream DST every day. So it's your best place to come and ask me questions. If you guys have any concerns about my videos, feel free to ask me there. You can find me at All Fun and Games on Twitch, and you can also post in the comments if you guys have any specific questions as well too. But we're gonna go ahead and we will see you guys in the next episode.